Yo, 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 folks, it's Tuesday. It's time to show up. We getting at it. Got my man right here, the mortgage coach. He's in the house this week. We're going to talk about mortgages. We're going to talk about some stuff that's happening out here. We're going to talk about for all y'all scared, running all around, not knowing what to do. We got some answers for you. We got my man with 30 years experience. He's been around the block. He's going to show you some things. We're going to out here. We're going to give you some knowledge that's going to blow your mind. So as the King, Glover Holloway steps in and just run off some of the stuff he gonna can do, some of the business he done obtained, some of the things he's doing out there in the city of brotherly love right here, folks. You know, the Eagles in the house. You know, I'm still Giants fans, but I brought the Eagles in the house. We still NFCs. We still can rock with them and everything. But, man, without ado.
Blow the whistle.
Blow the whistle. Blow the whistle. So, man, we're going to just let them have it. King, just let them know a little bit about your history, where you come from in this mortgage game, and all that stuff.
Man, listen, I'm just honored to be on the show today. Shout outs to everybody that's doing mortgages, mortgage lenders, mortgage brokers, whether you're doing commercial, whether you're doing refinancing, whether you're doing purchase, whether you're doing any loans that are going to help you and do better in life. So just want to give a shout out to that first. But, so much to talk about. But tonight we're going to talk about, instead of renting, buying, because that is really the major tool that you should be thinking about doing. I know the rates are different right now. The rates are a lot higher. But when I got my first house quite a long time ago, talking about 25, almost 30 years ago, a rate at 9% was a good rate, was a good rate. Now we got a little, because of the COVID and things of that nature, we've seen rates drop down to almost 1% 3 years ago. Those rates are gone. Face reality, those rates are not coming back unless we had something dramatically like it was prior, which was, another COVID where, the country is going through a major dilemma. But being honest, let's be realistic about things. So I got into business, like my brother said right there, Johnny, 30 years ago. And I was not looking to be in the mortgage business. I was a science major. I was in college playing football at West Virginia University. I was a Big East linebacker on my way to go pro. And suddenly my junior year, I tore my knee. I tore my posterior cruciate ligament, and doctors pretty much said it was over. But if anybody believes in God that's on here tonight, they know it ain't over until God says it's over.
Right.
So what happened there, I rehabbed for 2 years, and then I transferred to Temple. So I know y'all see me with Temple alumni on here. I got to give a shout out to all the Temple alumni all over the country. Temple is just not in Philadelphia. It's over in other countries. So I just want to give a shout out. Played my senior year. I wanted to finish up strong. And when I finished up in the football career situation, I started getting into financing. And this is a true story. True story. A friend of mine came to me, said, man, you're good with people. He was a mortgage broker. And he said, hey, King, why don't you try this, man? You're good with people and see what you can do. Next thing you know, the first year I made $250,000. $250,000. All I was doing was going out, talking to people. And I always say this, and I'll never stop saying it. People do business with people they like and they trust.
That's right.
Don't matter what color you are. If they trust you and you got integrity, they're going to come to you. So that's how, before I knew it, I'm going into my 30th year in this business. So I just want to let people know right now, we're going to talk about why it's so important to buy instead of rent. So I'm going to turn it back over to Johnny. Just wanted to give you a little brief synopsis about who I am and how I got into business.
Yeah, you heard that from the coach right there. He gave me that little history. He said 9% here. People's talking about this 7 and 8%, and they don't know what to do. They're getting a little frantic and stuff. Please don't lose out on your wealth. You got to understand this is your generation wealth. This is the stuff that's happening for so long that y'all don't realize that we're in a good situation right now.
Yes,
we're in a perfect situation, and just understanding what's happening over time and how it just can keep transpiring. But I'm going to say King, just let them know a little bit about how you see the economy then switch from we talking 30 years ago, so we talking about late 1995 until present and stuff. Where you seen it going out there trying to sell these mortgages, and people was like, "Wow, that's crazy."
Well, I mean, just to follow up on what you're saying, quite naturally, we know houses are not worth the same what they were back in 1995 or 90 or 80 or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
But the good thing about it, the market, yes, it has shifted,
Mm-hmm.
right? But people that have had homes for 25 years or more,
Right.
they know the rates are really not bad right now. These rates are really not bad. Like I said, 3-4 years ago when COVID was hitting, the rates dropped down where you have rates that were just as low as buying a car.
Right.
You could actually buy a house and your rate would be better than buying a vehicle. You know what I mean? So that has not happened in over 100 years.
Right.
Okay. So now, and I was pleading with clients at that time not to break their rate where they have no cushion.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I've always been a person to know how to balance my equity. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to explain to clients, listen, you don't want to drop your rate too low. You don't want to get it at the bottom. You don't want to drop it all the way down to 2% because mm-hmm. God forbid, if something happens, mm-hmm. you lose your job, or if you're married, your spouse loses their job. Y'all bought that house together, right? Now, if he loses his job or she loses his job, there's only one income in the house, mm-hmm. right? If you got multiple credit cards, the average person, they say, in America has at least 4 credit cards. Mm-hmm. 4 credit cards, right? Mm-hmm. So the normal, from what I've seen running people credit and going through this process, majority of those 4 credit cards may be a balance or average of at least $50,000.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So if you max those credit cards out mm-hmm. and you have equity in your home, mm-hmm. right? And your rate is at a 2%. Majority of people right now that refinance their homes during that time of COVID, their rates between 2.5% and 3%, mm-hmm. right? So if you refinanced your home and got that rate, so your mortgage payment would be lower, but say for instance you got $300,000-$400,000 worth of equity in your house, right? And you try to refinance it now, whether you got a 700 score, 750 score, your rate is going to be somewhere in the high 6s, right? Mm-hmm. So that means your rate is going to double from what you already have. Right. So a lot of people are very frustrated right now because they can't get the equity out their homes. Mm-hmm. Right. And the reason why is because I've always been this kind of person. I'd rather have a piece of the cake than the whole cake. Because if I have a piece of the cake, I'm going to always eat. If I have the whole cake, right, I'm going to eat the whole cake and I ain't got no more cake.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just that simple. You know what I mean? I've always thought that way.
Right.
So I try to express to people, don't take all your equity at one shot. Mm-hmm. Because if you take it, you ain't going to have nothing left.
Right.
And that's where we at right now. A lot of people right now on the refinancing side, they can't take the money out. They can't get no money out. And they're suffering right now because of what they did during those 2 or 3 years in the COVID. Mm-hmm. So I'm here today to tell you how you can get out of that situation, right? That's one. The second is for those that are wanting to buy a home and they frustrated, right? They frustrated because they say the rates are higher. And I always say this to you, no disrespect. How can you say the rates are higher if you never bought a house? Because you're going by what people tell you, right? But you never bought a home. So technically the rates are really not that high.
That's right.
You know what I mean? If you understand, and I always tell people, look at this as if you was an investor, right? Don't look at that as a consumer. Because when we look at it consumers, we don't think about what the bank or that investor has to go through if they give you this loan. So they want people that make sense that they're going to purchase a home. So I want to talk about why it's better to purchase than rent. So we're going to discuss that. But I just wanted to give you a few nuggets pertaining to those that already have homes.
Right. Purchase versus rent. Folks out here, you got them 2-3% interest rates. You looking for a way to get a couple of money to pay them credit cards off, paying some of that debt. You need your house needs some upgrades and stuff. People probably talking about home equity lines of credit, which is 10%. For that second mortgage. Hello, they call it HELOC or HE loan. So you got to know the difference between those two there. But they both still 10%. They still are high. They're second. Why they're set? Why are they going to be a higher rate? Because they taking a risk on it right now. If something happens, they believe that they're not even going to get their money back. So they're going to lend you that money because they know the equity is there, and they got some guidelines that's going to lead you and put you in might seem an uncomfortable situation, but guess what? It's money. You need that money. You paying 28% on a credit card right now. You paying 26%. You paying a whole lot more. But yet when you come to a house, and I'm gonna let King have this about why it's better to buy than rent, but you're paying those credit card over time, and you probably seen the diagram on the credit card where it probably will tell you that if you make the minimum payment over 30 years, it'll take you, this would you be done paid off, but this what happens, where once you pay it off, you don't have nothing left. You pay that credit card off, all you have is a credit card. You pay that house off over 30 years, you got some equity, you got some long-term wealth. But to transition into them folks that's renting out there, please understand, you either paying somebody's mortgage off or you're going to pay your own off. I want you to open your eyes to that. I know it. Seem like it's high. Them people that you rent from might have high interest.
How they raise? Listen. And Johnny is exactly right what he's saying to you guys. A lot of people are renting and they're paying more than what they would pay for a mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
I was just talking to a client today, and the client told me he's paying $2,000 to rent a house in Philadelphia, a house. And where they rent the house at, the houses are not even $200,000 or $225,000
Mm-hmm.
away. The average house in that area is maybe $175,000 to $225,000. So they paying $2,000 for a month. And I had to tell them, I said, do you know I'm getting people that's paying $2,000 a month and they living in a house that's $400,000? They looked at me like I was crazy. I said, and that's what they taxes and insurance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And their house is twice as big as the house you're renting, right? Yeah. And when I said this to this person, right, and they're very very knowledgeable of business and things of that nature, and they said, "Are you serious?" And I said, "Yes, I'm serious." And then I said, "Listen, you have renters right now that are asking you for a higher FICO score." Now, some of you might not know what a FICO score is, right? FICO score, you have 3 credit scores. You have your Equifax, you have your Experian, and you have your TransUnion. We as mortgage professionals, we have by law take your middle score out of the 3, and that's how you get your interest rate. So we can do Johnny can do a mortgage. We can do a mortgage at a 580 FICO score, right? 580, right? 580. Right? Now, rental agencies, they want you to have a 680. Some of them want you to have a 720. Right. Now that sounds crazy.
Right.
That you're going to have they want you to have a higher credit score on a property that you're renting that's not even your property. And you know the reason why they want that? You know why they want that, Johnny?
They want that surety.
They want the surety. They don't want just anybody renting from them. Right? They want people, they trying to push away people that have lower income credit scores. Right? Now, because you have a lower credit score doesn't mean you're a bad person.
Right.
You could have went through a marital situation. You could have went through a death in your family that you had co-signed for. Yeah. I've seen it all, right? But they don't care. The banks don't care. They just want to make sure that you can pay the mortgage. That's a rental person, they don't care nothing about what happened. They just want to make money. Because that's all they want is your money. They happy if you want to rent for 2 years or 3 years. Because 90% of the people that's renting, right? The person they're renting from has a current mortgage on their home. So all you doing if you're paying $2,000 a month and you're in that house for 3 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was a math guy in college. That's 12, that's 24 months. That's another 12 months. That's 36 months.
Mm-hmm.
If you paid $2,000 a month, I can tell you right off the top of my head, for 2 years is 48,000, right? 48,000. Another 24,000 for another 12 years, right? I mean, another year, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just paid $62,000 to that landlord in 3 years. That's not including any utility bills. That's not including getting your water turned on. That's not talking about your cable or anything you need. You just pay $62,000 and you're not getting anything from it. Now, mind you pay that $62,000 to that landlord, his home just increased its value maybe another $50,000.
That's right.
So you're helping him. He's laughing, he's smiling because you're allowing him to get out of his debt, but you're not making anything from that. So I want you to really think about, does that make any sense? So I said 3 years. Some people have been in properties I spoke to for 7 years. They have rented for 7 years. Then gave the landlord over $120,000. Now I just
paid off the house.
Now I just told you earlier that I just spoke to someone that's living in a house right now. They're paying $2,000 a month. The property's not even worth $200,000. Right? They've been in there for 4 years. 4 years now, going on to 4 years. And when I told them, I said, you've been in there for almost 4 years. You got another year on your lease. Right? You're going to pay his mortgage off for him.
Right.
That makes no sense. They said to me, you know what? After I'm going to try to figure out a way I can get out of this lease because I want to buy a house now. Nobody has never made it that clear to me. So what I'm trying to get through to you today is better to buy instead of rent.
Right.
It's important for you to understand because, listen, you're using your hard-earned money and you're making someone else wealthy where you can make yourself wealthy.
And that's so key right there. Something else he forgot to mention, that they want you to have 3 times of what the rent is when you get in there. So, you know, you got $2,000, you got to make $6,000 a month here. Folks, this is February. This ain't nothing but the love month. We're showing some love right here now because we letting you. You know that we back, folks. I'm sorry. We had a bad connection there but I just want to be clear, and I want to reiterate this. 3 times of whatever the rent is what you're going to have to pay for. Secondly, you have to consider that you don't have to have that much to qualify for a mortgage. So if you're not making $6,000, you know, I can file $2,000 a month mortgage. Yeah, it's a lot, Miss Naomi. You know, and you know when we keep it 100 with folks, we just showing the love this month. This is February. This is love month. We give you some knowledge.
It's not just Black History Month. It's Love Month. You know, and we want to see people elevate. We don't want to see them go down. You know what I mean? We want to see you be lifted up. You know what I mean? And even as God's word says, if I be lifted up, I draw all men unto me. So we want to lift you up. You know what I mean? To let you know, stop renting.
Right.
Stop telling people you can't do it. You could be closer than you can ever imagine.
That's right.
But you can't, listen, a mouth don't speak, don't eat.
That's right.
Okay, so faith is there without works. You understand what I'm saying? I had a client that had a 400 score 2 years ago. We worked on that credit, and now they scored in the sevens, and they have a home. They didn't, and they waited years to do it because no one pushed them. Nobody told them you can do it.
Right.
And I looked at their credit report, said, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to do this. And they step by step did it. And before you knew it, their scores was where they needed to be.
That's right.
And they got a home. And the one thing that I love about my job, and I know Johnny can say the same thing. I love to see people that have children where their children have their own rooms.
That's it.
They have their own rooms, you know, and they come in there and they know they home. This is their home. They're not renting for 2 years and then they got to go somewhere else. This is their home. You know what I mean? They grow up in this house. You know, they get older and have a family and say, hey, this is the house I used to live in. You know what I mean? So you leave a legacy, you know what I mean, when you're buying a home. You're not just buying a home for you. You're bringing history in your home. You know what I mean? You can remember your daughter's first birthday and your home. I'm not talking about the rental property in your home. You know what I mean? Because guess what? The rental property, guess what? That person could sell that property the day of tomorrow. And guess what happens? You have to leave. But you have that property. Your kid could be in 5th grade and you keep that property for 7 years and they graduate and have a birthday party or a graduation party in the house. You can remember that day that you first bought that property. There's memories. These are things that we need to think about. And I'm saying it's more towards our people. Because when I look at the numbers right now, we are at the bottom of buying properties.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I mean? We are, African Americans are at the bottom of buying properties, and that's sad to say. You know what I mean? We were number 2. Now you got the Hispanics in front of us. They have enough sense to know, listen, we're going to buy properties. We don't care if we got to put 10 people in there.
That's it.
We're going to buy a property because they know that it's important to buy and not rent. You're going to hear me say this the whole entire time of the podcast. We want you to buy. Stop renting. Believe that you can buy. There's programs out here for first-time home buyers where you put 3.5% down. You can get up to $20,000 to $30,000 if you take the first-time home buyers class and you qualify, which will give you the down payment to buy a home. You have to go through certification. There's different areas, different zip codes that you can find out. We can give you the information. You understand what I'm saying? And those areas where you need to have your FICO score at a certain score for them to give you the money. You know what I mean? But if you don't ask, you'll never know.
That's right.
These big banks, they're not going to tell you the things that I'm telling you. I worked at Chase and Wells Fargo, was a regional guy there years ago. And guess what? They was not trying to help our people. All they wanted was a paper. And I said, I can't live like this. I want to help my people, but I can't help you if you don't want to help yourself.
That's right.
You know, so we have the tools for you to get what you need. Whether you get the mortgage from us, you go to Chase, you go to Bank of America, a 5% is 5, whether it's here with us or with them. But one thing, the difference with them, they have overlays, right? That they are redlining, even though they don't supposed to, certain loans, certain people. They don't want to give loans to them. But guess what happens? If we get you the loan, they'll turn around and service the loan.
That's it.
I had a client that was an African brother from Ghana. He went to TD Bank. TD Bank would not give him a loan. Said that he lost too much money with his business. I ended up turning around, getting him a loan for $1 million. Guess who serviced the loan? He paying it to TD Bank. And he said, how in the world they do that? They didn't want it. But guess what? They took it once I got it approved. And he turned around and said, you know what? I'm going to pay them off. I don't want them to make no money. And he paid it off in a year. Because he said, I don't want them to get any interest because they treated him so bad. So what I'm saying to you, don't get caught up and think because you're going to the bank, they're going to treat you good. You are a number to them.
That's right.
Okay. When you deal with a broker like we are, you get more vibes from us. You get more positive. You can communicate with us more.
Right.
I worked in the bank. They want me to call a certain amount of people per day. And it's a number game.
That's it.
You know what I mean? So if I call you and you don't answer, or you call me and tell me you ain't ready, I may not hear from you, talk to you again for 3 weeks.
That's
Now,
right.
would you want somebody that you trying to do business with like that? No.
No.
No. We're here. We're doing this right now. We're not making any money doing this. We are trying to educate people right now.
Right now.
To not rent, buy. I don't care if you buy a duplex. I had a kid, young man, that I just did a loan for. He worked at Wendy's. Wendy's. He was a manager. He was making $50,000 a year. Right? He said, listen, King, I want to get a duplex. We found him a duplex. He didn't just get a duplex, he got a triplex. He lives on one. He renting out the other one. His mom lost her job. He got her living on the other one. The money that the guy is paying him is paying for the whole entire triplex.
Right.
He's not even touching his money that he's working for Wendy's. He got a property now that just jumped up from what he bought it for. That got $75,000 worth of equity. That quick.
Wow.
$75,000 worth of equity. He turned around and said, next year I want to get another one. Because he saw the light. And I met him in the barber shop. He just heard me talking about a mortgage to somebody. That's how easy the situation went. So I'm telling you, if you really believe and you want to do it and you don't want to keep renting, call us. We're here.
And I know this economy scares a lot of folks out here. You know, people getting laid off, people not wondering if they're going to have employment, you know, people struggling with, you know, the job situation. You still have to persevere through this whole time, through this pressure, through this whole extent of what's going on. We know that you might have some credit issues. Let's talk through those things.
Yes.
Let's go through the thing. You know, we're going to go ahead and give y'all a mortgage coach number, 800-900-6808. Give them a call. You know, you talking about somebody that's going to coach you through some of your difficult times here, somebody that's going to lead you and give you some understanding of what's happening here. You know, if you're scared to call King at oldcitycapitalllc.com. Reach out.
And you can text me as well. That 1-800 number, you can also text on that number. You know, you can go on Instagram and you can get me on at Old City Capital, you know, King at Old City Capital. So listen, I'm here. I'm willing to help. I'm willing to show you what you need to do if you really want to get it done.
And folks, don't think this is a thing just to gain business or, you know, just to revert or what's happening. We want to make sure that we are putting you in the best situation. We want to make sure that you are getting something and not wasting money. You know, we talk about that money you wasted over the 3-4 years you've been renting all this time, and you could have had something. You know, you could have owned something. Don't discredit your worth when you're going into this home buying situation, because it's out here for a reason. It can seem overwhelming, but I tell people it's easier than buying a car to me, you know, because buying a car, you know, you go in there and they got to find the right bank to approve you if your credit ain't right. And they might put about 30 or 40 inquiries on your credit report.
Absolutely.
And you fine with that because you end up getting that car. You don't know what that interest rate is. All you know is that you're driving off in that Land Rover, that BMW, that Mercedes, that Toyota, that Nissan.
And this is what gets me.
All that.
This is what gets me. We'll go and buy a car. We'll complain about the rent, the rate being high for a home, right? But the average rate on buying a vehicle is higher than the rate on a car, on a house. On a house. Right now, I know people that went and bought cars right now, and they got 12% interest rates. You're going to buy a car, but as soon as you leave off that lot, you're losing, it depreciates just like that. But your home is going to grow, and you're going to get equity in it. Think about that. Over and over again. Right? You get tax breaks, you get your interest. They send you a statement every year where you can put it on your taxes and get some of that money back. You know, so please take and heed what we're saying. You know what I mean? All we want you to do, I'm tired of hearing people call me and telling me they paying this ridiculous amount of money to rent.
Right.
And I told someone today, I said, what you paying for a 1,500 square foot home, I'm paying less than what you paying for a 6,000 square foot home that I live in.
Right.
Now, does that make sense?
No, indeed.
No way.
No, indeed.
But if you are not managing your finances right,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just being honest, and you don't want, and you're just being straight out lazy, right? Because your money is worth something,
Mm-hmm.
right? You work hard for your money,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you want to utilize your money and get the best return from your money.
Mm-hmm.
So trust me when I say this to you, buying is a better return than renting someone else's home.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say this over and over again. You have to change your mindset. Okay? Remember, if you want to grow,
Mm-hmm.
you have to take chances.
That's it.
If you're not willing to take chances on yourself, who else can take a chance on you?
Yeah.
So what we're trying to say to you tonight, and I'm pleading with people here, please, my home that I live in, I made a chance.
Mm-hmm.
I moved somewhere that I didn't know anyone and didn't know 25 years later,
Mm-hmm.
that'd be one of the hottest areas in where I live at
Mm-hmm.
to buy a home.
That's right.
And I have a lot of equity in my home. A lot of equity in my home.
Yeah.
6 digits worth of equity in my home. I didn't know that, but I made it in my mind that I wanted to be the first person in my family
Mm-hmm.
to get a home built from the ground up. I worked my behind off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And at that time, I was working at U.S. Airways, which is now American Airlines.
Yeah.
Right. So don't tell me you can't get it if you don't want to get it, because I worked plenty hours.
Mm-hmm.
While I had 3 little children,
Mm-hmm.
and all my children are grown now. My youngest daughter is in her first year of med school.
Mm-hmm.
So guess what? It can be done if you believe in it.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to take a chance on yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what me and Johnny are saying today. We're here to help you. We enjoy what we do.
That's it.
Do we make good money from the bank? Yes. But that money is not the reason why we do what we do.
That's it.
I want to see people be able to have history. I have history in my home.
Right.
My youngest daughter don't know anything. My oldest daughter, she remembers. She's married now.
Mm-hmm.
She says, Dad, she has 3 kids. I have 3 grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
She says, Dad, I want to thank you for putting us in a position where we could better ourselves.
That's it.
And that's what you want to do. If you have kids,
Mm-hmm.
you want to put your kids in a better situation than you may have had.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying my parents did the best they could, but we should always want to see our kids strive to do better than what we've done.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
And this is an opportunity you can do that.
That's it. And something else I want to enlighten y'all on, hey, Isabel, how we doing tonight? Is the mindset change right now. Once we start thinking outside the box and start understanding what we need to do here, it gives us a better way to go. The mindset is that if you work at a job, they used to have a thing, you work so many years, you get a watch.
Mm-hmm.
You stayed there for 25 years because you wanted that watch. That was a mindset. My goal is, 25 years, I'm gonna get a watch. If I do 30, I'm gonna get that pen. They're gonna give me this plaque. I'm gonna get to put it in my apartment and all that stuff. The mindset is, if I get that house in 25 years, I'm gonna own that thing. I'm gonna have all this equity. I'm gonna have money if I need to do something to go ahead and work it through, because I can do anything at that point in time, because now I got some generational wealth. I got some things that I can pass on down. I got some history here. I got some times where we can laugh. I got a place for Thanksgiving, Christmas. I got a place where, I'm going to go and have a nice meal with my family. I'm going to have a place where I got peace.
Yes.
The peace of mind and knowing what's happening. I want to also give y'all a knowledge. Rent control. Rent control doesn't happen in Delaware. It might happen in New York or some of these other cities and stuff. But guess what? At any point in time, with a notice, your rent can go up. My mortgage is not going to go up like that.
Nope.
If that happens. I'm gonna be able to be stabilized in my home. I'm gonna be able to budget in my home.
And what Johnny is saying is so true. I was talking to someone that's very dear to me, like a big sister to me, and I was shout out again to Temple University, and she just got put in the Hall of Fame for being so excellent worker there. She's helped so many people, and she had told me, she said, "King, you know what really pushed me when I wanted to get you to help me get a home?" She said, "The landlord kept going up on my rent." And he sent me, and the last time he went up, he said, it's going up again $300 in the next 60 days. And she said, well, wait a minute. You just went up 6 months ago. Now, these landlords, they do this because they know the value of the houses are going up, right? And they don't care about you. So when it went up again, she said, that's it. I had enough. She said, you giving me 60 days, I'm giving you 60 days. I'm going to I'm buying me a house.
That's it.
And she got put in a place where she had to do, because she said, this is crazy. I can't pay $2,500 to rent somebody else's house, and this is what Johnny is talking about. They can go up, but with mortgages, they can't go up on your rent. They can't go up on your mortgage because you have a mortgage. Your mortgage, when you get a fixed rate, that is the same rate as long as you have that loan for the duration, whether it's 30 years or not. Okay. There's no rate, there's no balloon payments, things they used to do back in the day with those programs will go up. This is a fixed rate. So just imagine you in a home that's your home.
Right.
Homeowners insurance, you can buy that with your home. Right? That protects if anything happens to your belongings, right? You can also buy insurance now where if something goes wrong with your refrigerator, I have that at my home, right? Or my dryer, or my stove, or my range, right? Or my HVAC, right? They'll come out and I may have $100 deductible and they fix it. So you don't have to worry about, I'm gonna have to cut the grass because it don't cost that much money. Some of these houses you're gonna buy, you ain't got no grass, right? So you don't have to worry. It's not no outstanding bills that you're gonna be paying, right? But remember, your property value is going to continue to go up on that property that you have, right? So you can control. And I always tell my clients, when I do a pre-approval for you, I look at what you make versus what you're trying to buy.
Right. Yeah.
And you always want to try to stay around that 30% LTV. Now, even though you got FHA loans, which is the government loans where you can put down 3.5%, they will give you a approval at 56 LTV.
Yeah.
But I tell clients, I don't want you going that high because if God forbid something happens, you need to have a cushion. You know what I mean? Some of these mortgage people out here, and I hate to say it, they don't care. They just trying to get a commission check. I want my clients to stay in their homes. You understand me? I want them to be comfortable, be able to go on vacation, be able to do certain things for their kids if they got kids, go on vacations if they want, if they don't have kids. So we're here to not just help you buy a home. We're also here to help you manage your finances the proper way.
Right. And
because now by us doing this, you're gonna feel more comfortable to us to call somebody or send us a referral. You know what I mean? We don't but listen, I don't do a lot of advertisement. And one thing about this brother, and I love him, man, and I just met him. But one thing about him, he get out them streets. He get on them streets. He out there, he talking to people, and I can see why people bring him business because he has the integrity that he's trying to help you. And Miriam had this conversation a couple of days ago. Some people we just not going to be able to help.
That's right.
We're
That's
not going to
right.
be able to help them because they don't really want help.
Yo.
And I told him, stop, don't cast your pearls on swines.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Don't be sitting there putting in. We want people that really want to make a difference.
Mhm.
We're going to help you. Our time is precious as well.
Mhm.
But we want to help you, but you got to want to help yourself.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm just looking at the question here that somebody sent me. What about what people say when they can't afford the homeowner's insurance, property tax, and all that stuff? And the maintenance of a home. I'm going to tell them that you can afford it because in your mortgage, it consists of your property tax, your homeowner's insurance,
Your homeowner's
and your
insurance.
maturity. As King just gave you the nugget, you get that home warranty that covers your maintenance.
Yes.
So regardless,
and
what
the home
you do,
maintenance, I'm telling you right now, and I'm telling you because I have it.
Mhm.
The home maintenance, you got programs out here. You'll pay $50 a month.
Yeah.
Trust me, for your home maintenance, and it works. I've had my dishwasher went bad on me. They came out and fixed it. It was a deductible of $100. $100. If they can't fix it, they have to replace it. Sears is one of the best home insurance companies that do it, and they've been around forever. I have that on my home. Okay, so I'm telling you that home insurance thing works. And this is what I tell you, and this is a great question that you just asked. The taxes and your homeowner's insurance is escrowed in your mortgage payment.
That's it.
But this is the reason why people feel uncomfortable with that a lot of times. They try to buy something that they can't afford. Did you hear what I just said? And I noticed because I've had clients that I told them this is what you can afford.
Right.
So you need to find something in that area. And you know what they did? They got upset with me. They went with somebody else. Turn around 3-4 years later, they called me. They had to file bankruptcy because they lost their home. And they said, King, you was right. It wasn't about me being right. It was about me telling you what was right.
Right. That's right.
Okay. So I would honestly answer that question this way to whoever sent that question. Look and see what you can afford. Then once we do the pre-approval, then you know what areas you need to be looking at. If you want to buy something in a more expensive area, you need to probably make some more money. Okay. You know, but when I got my first home, it was in Philadelphia. It was in Northeast Philly. It wasn't really what I wanted, but it was on a decent, quiet block. You know what I mean? It was a row home. And when I sold the property, right, I actually walked away with about 80 to 90,000. And I was able to go and take that money and put down on the property that I got built, that I've been living in now for the last 25 years. So think about that as well. That house doesn't mean that you're going to be there forever.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can be there for 5 years and the equity in that property and take that equity in that property and put it down on something nicer that you wanted to buy. So think about that. You know what I mean? Think about that because that's something that I did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it worked out for my good. So there's always different options, but you can't be in a place where you say to yourself, this is where I want to live at, but you know your money is not there. You know, so I would honestly answer that question to whoever that was that way.
And we've seen a little statement up there about Miss Naomi about foreclosure. It's have been written for 8 years. I'm sure I have paid off this property. It was a foreclosure. Absolutely, Naomi. You probably done paid it off. They out there on that cruise, sitting down there. They riding around. They done had dinner on you. Didn't even say thank you and all that stuff. But guess what? It's all right. You understand what then happened here and how to get it moving. Folks, don't miss the number. Mortgage Coach 800-900-6808. King at oldcitycapitalllc.com. Hit him up. Let him know. You know, he's able to give you some coaching and some counseling on where you're at. What you need so you can continue to do better.
Yes.
When you start to know more, you start to do better.
Yes.
When you're doing better, you start to change your life. You know, we have so many things that happen when we start off the year, and we still go in the same mindset. Don't let this economy and what's happening out in this world change your mindset about that black wealth, passing on the
Yes.
legacy. Because guess what? We have to leave that legacy for our kids, our grandkids, for the family, so they can have that memory. They can have that opportunity to grow and to do some things that instrumental out here in this world.
Mhm.
We noticed that in our community, in an urban community, that a lot of folks of different descents are starting to come in. They're making it like their home now, and to where we say, "Oh man, we want to get away from this." Don't get away from something we built.
Yes.
We built this stuff
Yes.
up in here.
Yes.
We built the cities. This where our great grandparents and all that, they started out, where we had them dinners where they might have had the church down the street, and we walked to that church and came back and had some of the best meals in our life at that place.
Yes. Yes.
We have to be mindful. We have to be intentional. That's the word for this year. Intentional in what we're doing.
Yes.
What are we doing? Why are we doing it? How can we change the whole concept of what we're doing? You got to think of something else out here. As we start to look at had some things that the rates are dropping and people looking and calling, yo, is it low enough for that? Stop asking those questions. The question is, if you don't own it, it's low enough.
Yep, exactly.
If you don't own it,
it's low enough.
It's low enough. Be intentional on what you're doing.
Yes. And that's critical for us to do that, because when we start learning how to process things,
Mm-hmm.
things become easier. And, don't think it's not hard for us. Okay. We are African Americans,
Mm-hmm.
and, it's very difficult sometimes for us to get business. And Johnny was talking about that, saying we got to pivot. And anybody know what pivoting is? My son was a great basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
And what pivot is, that doesn't mean you go back. It means that you may pivot and go another way, but you're still going forward, so
Right.
Sometimes we have to think, like my brother just said, out the box, and don't be afraid. No question is a dumb question. You know what I mean? So don't be afraid to ask a question. You know what I mean?
Right.
We're here to help you. And once again, my number is 800-900-6808. You can also text me on that number. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you can email me as well at king@oldcitycapitalllc.com.
And somebody asked a question, can you buy a home and then sell it in 2 years?
Absolutely.
How long should you stay in a home when you want to sell it early?
It depends. It really depends, because majority of the banks, they want you to stay in the loan for at least a year.
Yeah.
Okay. For that mortgage. So you can sell that house after a year if you want, if that's what you choose to do. But it really depends, because it really depends on what you're trying to do. You know what I mean? So if you saying, hey, you want to buy this house and stay in it for 2 years, and that house may build $30,000-$40,000 with equity. You sell the house, you may walk away with $40,000-$50,000 grand that you can put on another house or buy another house. It really depends on what you're trying to do.
And stuff. And that's important. What's your goal? Are you really thinking about what you're doing here? Can it happen? But most of all, I want to get to the point, and I want to get to the nooks and crannies of some of these programs out here. Some of the things. My man sent me this thing. It was so. It was so much that I'm like, yo, this thing is too hot. I like when people see this thing, they should be jumping off the hook and understanding. And let me see if I can find it right quick for y'all, because y'all not understanding what's happening out here, where you can use bank statements.
Can you put that program that I sent you on here?
I don't think I can right now at the moment. But I'm going to tell them what it is, because they need to make that phone call and get an understanding of what's happening out here. But I'm talking about bank statements and 50%, not even 50% down, all kind of backup to help you with it. And giving you an idea. Here it is. It's called Direct Pathway Home Ownership for who generally would not be eligible and stuff. Only 1 year tax returns 3.5% down. Go ahead.
3.5% down payment for W-2 employees. Only 1 year tax returns. 2 months of bank statements required. Your DTI up to 50%, 56%. DTI is your debt total income, right? 3.5% down payment, self-employed.
Self-employed, folks, you can't do that.
You can't do that. Listen, I'm telling you, we got some listen, I got some programs that just came out that when I tell you, it's like I told Johnny earlier, I can't fry fish without no grease. You know what I mean? This got nothing but the grease for the fish. So I'm telling you, when you hear this, only 1 year tax returns, 3 months of bank statements required, right? Year to date, 3.5% down payment, right? No credit score. We even got programs for people that ain't got no credit score. Credit score, listen, no credit ain't bad credit.
Right.
Okay, so remember back in the day, they said, oh, you got to have a FICO score for this and that. You can use utility bills to get your credit score up, right?
Come on.
Right. So these programs are it's not to be played with, right? They got if you had a bankruptcy, I can get you a mortgage. You could have had a bankruptcy 2 months ago, and I can get you a mortgage. You may have to put some money down, but you can get it. Because at one time, if you had a bankruptcy, right, you had to wait quite a few years, right, for them to allow you to get a mortgage. Now they got so many different programs that allow you to go a bankruptcy, a foreclosure. Judgment liens are okay. Short sales, if you had a short sales, it's okay. No trade lines is okay. Thin credit, you got little bit of credit, one credit line you can get a mortgage with, right? 12 months housing history we can use to get you approved. We can use your utility bills to get you approved, right? And guess what? The biggest thing, right? It's available in all states. Did you hear what I just said? All states. So it ain't just in Delaware, New York, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Virginia. It's all states. They giving you an opportunity, once again, to buy and not rent.
That's it. 4 people allowed on a loan.
4 people on a loan. I can put 4 people. You can go on a loan with 2 of your sisters and your cousin. It was a time they wouldn't let you do more than 2. I got a program that will allow banks, not TD banking them. They don't want that, right? You got banks that are small banks that are funded by hedge funders, right? Mm-hmm. That they coming in. They got billions of dollars. And they say, listen, we going to get people to buy. They're giving you the opportunities. These programs that I'm seeing right now that just came across my email are programs that we had back in the early 90s.
That's it.
Where they had those no-doc programs,
right?
Where people was buying houses and say they made 100,000 and they only made 50, right? They started to bring no programs back, right, for people, right? But those big banks don't want those programs.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? They know it's important for people to buy and not rent.
Mm-hmm. Somebody said that we had a program for the fellas who's trying to get their life together and want to buy a home. We got to have a conversation about that because them fellas can do some things to get themselves in a house, for that house. We got to have that conversation, folks.
You got to have a conversation, and that's a conversation. Whoever sent that message, that you can give us a call and we can see what we can do for you. If it's something out there, I'm going to tell you how powerful this is. I can email my desk, and it'll tell me whatever your situation is, if we have a program for that.
That's it.
I can find that out within 24 to 48 hours. And if it doesn't, it'll tell me what we need to do to get you there.
That's right.
So listen, there's always a solution to a solution.
And there's something out there. 1-800-900-6808. Text, call, drop it all. Because guess what? We're here to change this thing. Showing you the love. I told you every week we're going to provide some resources for y'all. We're going to provide some things that can change and happen, because we all have stuff out here we're doing. We don't want nobody to go and not let it be known what's happening out here. Everybody have a situation. We all fell into some hole at one point. We cannot stay in a hole. But what I want you to know is find a way out of the hole. Yes. And when we find a way out of the hole, Boom. What's your thoughts on big investors buying out neighborhoods? Isabel, that's what they doing here
That's
because
great.
because guess what? That's a great opportunity because guess what? We got these people out here that don't want to get out of the hole of renting. So guess what? They buying the block.
Yep, they buying the block
Because they
That's what
know
they're
that
doing.
they know the people coming. Don't forgive me if we said something. Some people will be lifetime renters. I understand
Yes,
that. I'm not discouraging that if that's your motivation, but I'm saying you don't have to be motivated in that manner to keep doing that. Investors out here buying these things, they're making money to gain the wealth. And guess what? It happens. Is renting bad? Renting's not bad when you have a plan to stop.
right.
So once you have a plan to stop, renting's not bad. When you leave, and I was in a property, investment property over the weekend. Man, you know how long they said that lady lived there? 47 years. She's been renting that same place.
That's ridiculous.
47.
That's
And guess
ridiculous.
what? Her kids is there now. They're comfortable. It's feasible for them. But guess what? They need to get that mindset change. You got to change the mindset. You got to get out of where you're at. Because guess what? If anything happened, the only thing you're doing is putting them signs on your car and loving memory. You see that on the windows and stuff like that. And we applaud the people that do that for their loved ones and stuff. But have something more that we can put on the house. And when people walk in, can see the pictures, they can see the memories of what grandma and great grandma
Yes.
happened. My man King, he's talking about his daughters in med school and stuff. And at some point in time when they get up there in age and King done left that house, they can come back and say, we were born in there.
Yes.
My daddy and mommy, this is what happened in this house. We had this Thanksgiving this year.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that all the time in that apartment because guess what? You're going to have to get out or get going because once that rent start getting up, it's always a circulation
Yes.
of new tenants. Folks, we got a couple of minutes left, man. I thank y'all for tuning in tonight.
Thank you.
But we want y'all to know, y'all heard the programs. Y'all getting the number. Mortgage Coach 800-900-6808. Text, call, do it all right there. Leave the number. King at oldcitycapitalllc.com. Send a message
Send
there.
a message.
King, I'm embarrassed to call you because I'm in a situation and stuff, but can we write right now until I get comfortable? Keep sending that message.
Sending the
So
message.
because this is what he gonna be able to answer.
And what I tell you, the reason why I say the mortgage coach, because I'm here to coach you, and I'm not here to judge you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not here to judge you, and believe me, we all have fallen short in certain situations. But you got a chance to get up. Like my boy Donnie McKirkland says, he says, a sinner is only a saint that just fell, but he got back up.
That's it.
So you can get up if you want to get up. You know what I mean? Trust me, you can get up if you want to get up. And this is what I'm here for. And I'm representing Temple, my alumni. Listen, I'm getting ready to get my doctorate degree. I love what I do. Okay, I love what I'm going to do. I can still go back to school, right? And why I'm doing what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Because I love what I'm doing and I have a system. See, when you got a system, I do everything by appointments only. So I don't get myself all miscombobulated and all over the place. And that's the way I do my finances. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm being honest with you. I practice what I preach. And that's the reason why my kids are doing what they're doing. You know what I mean? So I have one daughter that's in school to be a doctor. I got another daughter that's a nurse. And then I got my son that has his own restaurant of Pittsburgh. He's doing his thing. You know what I mean? He's trying to grow his business. And every time I talk to him, he's like, Dad, what you think about this? What you think about it? It's because he watched his dad do it. You understand what I'm saying? So you want to encourage your children. I have nephews that I call them my nephews. They're not biological my nephews, right? But they went back to school. They used to be on the street doing whatever they wanted to do, right? I sat down and talked to them, right? And now they went back to school, got their college degrees. They're doing something with themselves. Everybody needs a push sometimes, okay? I grew up in Philadelphia. I grew up in the heart part of North Philadelphia.
Mhm.
So I had to learn. My dad wasn't in my life, right?
Mhm.
But I learned. My mother was a very strong Black woman, right? But I learned something from her. And the one thing that I learned from her is that, guess what? You never going to succeed in anything you do if you don't try.
That's right.
You don't try. So we're here to help. Please call 1-800-900-6808. You can text. Everybody like to text. You can text.
Mhm.
I'm not working all night long, I can tell you that. But you can text because I have a family myself.
Mhm.
But if you text me, you can email me. King, that's my real name. That's my first name. King at oldcitycapitalllc.com. Please reach out to us. We're here to help you.
Yeah.
Not to hurt you.
Folks, another Tuesday Creative Financing with JB. You know how we do it. You know, you got the resources, you got the residual income to come on in. Let's figure this thing out, man. I appreciate y'all attending tonight. I see y'all next week. It's the love month. We showing some love,
It's the love.
resources, and everything. I thank my man King for taking the time out
Thanks for
away from
being
it,
here. I
his
appreciate
family, and everything. And we'll see you next Tuesday. Y'all have a good one.
Go Eagles.